All right, hello everyone. Today I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm doing a triple live. I have LinkedIn going here, YouTube here, and Instagram here. And for some reason, Instagram keeps putting little heart eyes on my face. Okay, I turned that off. All right, so today I'm doing an Ask Me Anything session where you can ask me questions on any topic, and I'll give you some ideas. You can have data visualization, social media. We could talk about running. We could talk about book writing or self-publishing or authoring. The dedicated weekly challenge, working from home or a working parent. I have two daughters, or you can ask me anything about story by data or how I got into this career. I see a couple of people waving on Instagram, so hi, thanks for joining. I'm going to go ahead and open up my other computer here to see if we have comments or questions coming in. And if not, I do have other things I can talk about, but I'm really here to answer any questions that you might have about anything that you've ever wondered. I mean, not anything, but try to keep it to normal questions. See a couple of people there, including my brother Steve. Hey Steve, how's it going? Nuwan, Nisha, no Rohan. Let me know where you're dialing in from, and definitely feel free to ask me any questions. Hi Adnan from Saudi Arabia. Thanks for joining. Let's see, we can wave back to these people. It's my first time actually on YouTube and first time on Instagram. I've never used those live streams before, so I figured why not just do all three? And my room here looks a little crazy with two laptops and two phones and a microphone. Hi Aisha, good morning. You just got a job working from home. What's your best advice? I truly loved working from home. I got started about 4 or 5 years ago when I had my first child, and I do work in the office a little bit now, not because I want to or because I choose to, but because my new manager kind of prefers that in-person feel. So my advice is you're really a lot more in control of your schedule when you're working remotely because you don't have to commute. My commute used to be about an hour, hour and a half each way. You don't have to step out for lunch. So you'd really save a lot of time on just commuting and going out to get lunch or just thinking about what to wear that day. Not that I, spend my entire day in pajamas, but I mean, I don't. I typically do get dressed, but I think just being more in tune with your own time management skills and understanding what works for you. Like I'm a morning person, for example, so I wake up early and I get my most important work done. And then when things come up or if my kids come into my room when I'm working, I'm a lot more relaxed because I know that I've already accomplished so much in the morning. Steve asks, that's my brother, by the way, so I expect this question to be a little bit on the crazy side. No offense, Steve. Can AI, artificial intelligence, help me win the lottery to analyze past winnings and predict winning numbers? What a great question. I don't think I'm going to address this in the Ask Me Anything because I think you need to stop worrying about the lottery and go back to work. Let's see. Abjit asks, where to find materials like tutorials regarding data science? I think at this point, we have so many materials out there that it's too easy almost, so you need to narrow it down, right? It depends what you're looking for. Find a specific question that you're trying to answer and then or a project that you're trying to work on, and as you get questions, literally Google them or post them on social media because that's just the easiest way for you to get your question answered is Googling it and then asking people that are working in this space for advice. Message people that are experts in the exact specific area that you're looking for questions on. But I mean, storybydata.com, which is my blog, has plenty of resources on just random data science materials because I have this dedicated weekly project where it's kind of sourced from people that from all walks of life that participate in this challenge where they answer specific questions around data science, data visualization, sometimes on programming or just other AI, machine learning topics. So that's also a source of information. But then Katie Nuggets, you can go on sites like that, and medium.com has a lot of resources as well. All right, let's see what other questions we're getting now. Adnan says, Steve, great question. All right, let's see. Hey, Akash. just looking through questions. Akash asks, any tips how to start a career in data science and analytics? I think tips for starting a career in data science. I think it's as simple as applying for jobs that are closely related to data science. So, it actually it depends on where you are in your state right now, because if you're currently working for a company, then there's a potential for you to transition into different fields. And then if you're not really working for a company, then if you're in school, then study that specific subject matter, and focus your effort on maybe doing some side projects or getting an internship to try to get your foot in the door. And I mean, it truly depends on where you are to start your career. Do you have a background in statistics, mathematics, or computer science? If not, there are plenty of resources out there. I'm not saying you have to go back to school, but there are, boot camps, there are different sessions specific to the type of background that you have. All right, let's see. Question on Instagram is, what's the best forum for technical data science questions? I think Stack Overflow is a great place to go with your questions, especially for programming. But I mean, even Quora sometimes had some answers that I was looking for responses to. Gonna go ahead and look at other comments. Jyoti says, oops, it went away. Your vision towards knowledge sharing data science community is much appreciated. Thank you. That's very sweet of you to say. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. Questions. I want to start learning Python. Where should I start from? This is from Ronak Mathur. That's a great question. I actually recently started learning Python myself, and the way I started was, first step, take the very first step, install Python, right? Download it, learn a little bit about the libraries that it comes with, and then just go and start working with data. That's what helped me. I think hands-on. I think you can read about it so much, and I have a textbook, and there's only so much you can read. I think the faster you get your hands on the tool, the better. So there are plenty of sites online that take you through kind of, here's how you type in hello world, and here is how you import data, and here's how you build a bar chart of data. Just kind of following along with those steps has truly helped me, because the more I did it myself, the easier it became. And I went a step further, and I started recording videos of myself teaching Python. So whatever I would learn, I would make a video and try to teach somebody else, because then I know that I really understood the topic or the content. So that's another helpful tip. Write blog articles, even if there are a million blog articles about, the types of, data fields that are in Python, or how do you use pandas to build a bar chart. Even if there are a million of those articles, you can still write it. It doesn't take away from your perspective of it. And it also will help you as you describe it to somebody else, even if on paper, it'll help you learn it. All right. Hi, Constantine. I see you there on Instagram. My first time going live on Instagram and YouTube. I see there's one person on YouTube. Not sure who it is. And we got 111 people here on LinkedIn, 6 people on Instagram. All right, questions. Kenan asks, are businesses still in short of data scientists after all the hype and buzz, the supply meeting the demand? I think the issue with the supply and demand of data scientists is the skill level. So I think there's no shortage of people, entry-level data scientists that can get into a company and start working. But I think the shortage becomes for the more senior level data scientists. I think that's kind of the missing link here, because everyone's going through these boot camps, right? They learn just enough to kind of attack some data, or they're learning enough tools, but they're not really understanding how to apply it to the business or domain need. So I think there is still a gap. I think there are a lot of entry-level data scientists, but as you go up in terms of skill set into those, more difficult to learn and to apply skills, I think there's definitely a gap there. All right. Arjit says, what standards to follow while combining a line chart and a bar chart together in a visualization? I think that It depends, right? It depends on what type of data you're trying to show. But let's take, for example, the amount of sales and profit over a period of time. The way I would build that is, and let's say it's by category or by region. And you can use sales for bar charts and then profit for a line chart, just to show that, the trend of sales with profits. I mean, it's really hard to describe the best practices where I'm here talking to you in a screen. If you want to follow up with me after, send me a LinkedIn message or Instagram or any other any other way of reaching me. I'm happy to work with you on that. Hey, Stephen, Radical Developers. Hi, thanks for joining. All right, let's see. AR is asking, for data visualization, which is more preferred, Tableau or R? I think for data visualization, you can use either or. I prefer Tableau just because I know Tableau and it's super easy for me to just get in there and, build a dashboard in minutes. Really, I'm not exaggerating. It takes minutes. Maybe for others, it takes that, little time to create something in Python, but I think writing that code and customization might take me longer, at least while I'm still learning. So I would go with Tableau, but I don't think Python or R has limitations in terms of data visualization. It's just they're different tools and could be used for different purposes. All right, what other questions do you guys have? I'm having fun, by the way. If you're having fun, let me know in the comments. Let's see. Maher says, hi, hello. Okay, Kunal says, how to gain more domain knowledge. This is actually a really great question because, like I mentioned earlier, people are picking up the technical skills, right? The programming, the computer science, even data visualization. Some, are even good at the communication and storytelling portion of it. But then how do you pick up the domain knowledge? I think number one, it comes with experience, right? But you're wondering, how do I get experience if no one's hiring me because I don't have experience? So I think once you choose the domain that you're interested in, let's, for example, say, healthcare, or let's go with banking, the banking industry. The best way to, I think, gain expertise is start reading news articles about that space. What are the biggest issues that are impacting banks right now? Is it regulations? Is it the fact that, they have to worry about data privacy? It's a lot of things, right? So there's so many articles you can read, there are books you can read, but you can go a step further. You can interview people that are working in that domain and, keep it short, keep it to a 10-15-minute interview, but talk to as many people as you can and ask them, specific questions like, hey, what keeps you up at night? Or what are the top 3 opportunities for you to grow your business this year? Ask them very specific questions, and people like to help people. So if you have questions on, in banking, you can also go to conferences or listen to webinars. You'll one way or another, you'll gain that knowledge of what's happening in the domain. All right, I see some people have joined on YouTube. Aldrin, hi. This is an Ask Me Anything session, so you can literally ask me anything, and I'm going to try to respond to as many questions as I can. So let's see what other questions we're having fun. Oh, Shari's having fun. Thank you. Me too. Okay. Shari from Manhattan. Yay. I'm in Queens, currently working from home. Not really working at the exact moment, as you can tell, but I'm taking my lunch break early. Anyways, Diana asks, what's the best online course for data visualization? I think Udemy actually has a pretty cool place for data visualization courses, but I'd say you might not even need a data visualization course, even though I created my own data visualization course. It's called Tableau Visual Best Practices, Going from Good to Great. It's only about an hour long, but it takes you from never having used Tableau to building your own dashboard, and kind of talks about all the important aspects of what makes a data visualization great. But I think there are plenty of free resources, even if you go on YouTube or just Google data visualization best practices. It's all about really investing the time in learning it, and you don't necessarily have to pay money for it. If you did want to pay money for it, there's a book, Storytelling with Data, that's really good. I highly recommend that one. So definitely check that out. All right. Let's see. There's a question. In my school, no one is teaching a market standard machine learning, just teaching us conventional machine learning. But in the market, the demand software to work as a data scientist, where to start from, which software to start as a data scientist. So for machine learning, I mean, most courses that I've seen use either R or Python. So I think those two are probably the best to get started. There is this course on MIT. It's from emeritus.com that has machine learning from data to decisions that I think is really good because it's like an 8-week course. It's not free, but I think it's well worth it. It's taught by an MIT professor. It's all remote and online, so I'd recommend that one. Okay, let's see. What other questions? Ronak. Standards to follow. Hey. It's kind of, I don't know where to look. There's too many cameras. All right. Jeff asks, for an ultimate career in data science, should I start by applying to data analyst positions or go straight for the big league? Jeff, I think it depends on your background. If you feel like you have enough knowledge to build on, I say go straight for the big league. Why limit yourself to a data analyst position? Most people, I think, that apply or get a job, they're not 100% qualified for that job. I don't think I've ever applied to a job that I was 100% qualified for. I think if you meet about 50 or 60% of the, responsibilities and expectations, I think it's expected that you'll just learn the rest, right? No one's going to get the perfect candidate that comes in and says, I know all of these things. And, the reason that they do that, the reason that won't happen is because those people that meet all of that criteria are probably applying to positions that are more senior to that position. Question on YouTube, how to become a freelance data scientist? Well, Aldrin, that's a great question. So I know there are plenty of freelance data scientists out there. And I think most of the people in my network are not looking to be freelancers. I think they're looking to be part of a big company where they can learn. But I think if you're at the point where you feel like you've added value to previous companies and want to take what you've learned out on your own, you don't have as much as support when you're freelancing. But I think the first step is getting your first ever client. I think that's really the most important part. Get your first client, and I wouldn't say do it for free unless you're really struggling to get a first client. I try not to do work for free, but get your first client and make sure you do a great job and get a great referral. And your next question is probably like, so how do I get my first client? I think LinkedIn is a great resource for putting yourself out there. Create a video talking about your expertise in data science and create that video every single day for 30 days or so. You're surely going to get noticed. And if somebody's looking for expertise, they're going to say, oh, Aldrin knows this stuff, and they're going to contact you. Like, trust me, it works. Even though I was not looking for outside work, every time I would post a video about some technical topic, I would also always get contacted for job opportunities, or here, can you help me with this consulting gig? I can't really do those things right now, but it was just letting you know that opportunities do tend to come in when you're putting yourself out there. Thank you for the question. I'm awesome in multitasking. Thank you. I'm kind of stressing out here because the different questions coming from different places, but thank you. I will take that as a compliment. Rishabh says, I'm more comfortable with R rather than Python. Does this sound like an efficient approach to data scientist, or should Python be our super weapon? I think if you're comfortable in R, stay in R. If you're comfortable in Python, stay in Python. I don't think it matters as much what tool you use as long as you're getting the work done. And I think you probably hear that over and over again when people are talking about which language do I go with, A or B. It doesn't matter as long as you can answer the question that the business is asking, and the business or your client truly doesn't care either, unless they just have, a large team of people that only use Python, and you're coming in and you're like, oh, I just know R. Well, in that case, learn Python. And I always heard that if you know one language, to learn a second language is not that far of a stretch. It's just learning the new syntax and getting comfortable with operating in that. I do something similar where I was using Tableau for the longest time, and then I decided I don't want to be just a Tableau person. I wanted to be more product agnostic. So I started learning Click and Power BI and looked into Sisense and just other data visualization tools just to kind of get myself into it. Spencer says, "Hey, Kate, I wanted to shout out a thank you for the encouragement a few months ago. I'm sticking with it and gaining followers and connections. Every day, content, content, content." Yay. I'm glad to hear that, Spencer. I know it's easier said than done. Hey, put yourself out there, put content out there. But I think it all starts with that first post, that first article, or that first video that you create. And from there, it just becomes a lot easier. I mean, trust me, to get my first video done, I was not excited about it. I was not looking forward to it. I was dreading it. I didn't know what to say. I think I re-recorded it a couple of times. Now I literally don't re-record anything. You can see I'm going live on 3 different platforms. And once you realize that you're human and you'll make mistakes and you're okay with that, life just gets so much easier. Because I think it's more fun to watch somebody natural in their own kind of, in their state, their human state, versus somebody who's reading a script and pre-recorded, and then most people tune out of that anyways. All right. Let's see what other questions we're getting. Okay. Sachin is asking, in my opinion, what is the current maturity level of data science skills availability in the market? I think there's definitely a fluctuation and variance in terms of the current maturity level of data science skills. I think that for the most part, people are in that entry level phase where they're really just starting out and they're not sure kind of how to tackle the bigger problems. They learn a skill set, and then I think what happens is they expect to come into a job and apply that exact skill set that they just learned. Wow, Instagram has gone crazy with filters. But yeah, I think basically as we go higher in terms of the more difficult skill sets, it's kind of like diverges in the middle, where there are less and less people up there. And I think there are just a lot of people that are in their entry-level data science space and just looking for an entry-level job, where I think the market is at the place where they're expecting more senior-level people to start joining in. All right, new questions. Rishabh says, thanks for the direction. You are doing a great job. Thank you so much. I'm having fun here. Naomi says, accept my friend request, please. I will accept all friend requests that come in today, so I make sure not to miss you. All right. Let's see. Questions. Okay, Bhushan says, how to get data as desired from Google. There is actually a website. If you're asking about how to get data sets from Google, there's actually a website that was built. I think it's databases.com or something. I can actually look it up. Database Google. So there's a new place where you can search for data online. I'll have to get you the site if you want to follow up with me after. Couldn't find it here. But yeah, it's pretty cool that you can get any data set you want now. All right. Amin asks, hello, I've been waiting for this opportunity. Me too. So here we go. I just got my bachelor's in computer science, and it had nothing related to Python nor machine learning. And I really wanted to break into data science, but I seriously don't know where because I was overwhelmed by the resources. Yes, I can feel you. There are a lot of resources out there. And I lost my motivation way too many times. I'm really passionate to chase a career in data journalism. Data journalism sounds like a fun place to be. So you basically finished a bachelor's in computer science. It's interesting that it had nothing to do with Python or machine learning. I'd like to know where you went to school. That's pretty interesting. I think if you're trying to learn Python, then you can actually get in there get Python, install it on your computer today, and just start playing with it and start learning. I'm sure you learned some form of programming in computer science, since you got a bachelor's in that. In terms of where to get started, I think you already identified what you want to do is working in data journalism. So maybe identify your top 3 or top 5 companies that you'd like to work with, and start networking with individuals that have a job title that you think would be, a hiring manager's job title, or try to network, or go to conferences that have to do with data journalism. Just basically jump into that world, and you will get noticed. Exactly, like the more you put yourself out there, the more you will get noticed. Raj is asking, how difficult was it for you to shift from Tableau to data science, as it involves a lot of coding knowledge? I'm currently not really coding for work. I'm learning coding for fun, so there's not as much pressure. But honestly, the coding part wasn't that difficult for me to pick up, because especially Python, I think it's almost like speaking English, so it's not really something new. I always liked languages. I learned Spanish, Italian. I even took Mandarin for a year. And it's just, I love learning languages. For me, it's just treating it as another language, and you get to build things with this. So it's even cooler than learning just any language. So it was not that difficult. I still prefer Tableau for any of my data work, just because I'm so much better at Tableau than coding at this point. But thank you for your question. All right, let's see. Sachin is recruiting for a position, and he says, I see a lot of people migrating from other fields. Now they're bringing higher salary expectations. What is your recommendation for senior people migrating into data science field on salary expectations? Sachin, I think salary expectations there's just so much variability based on the type of space you're in, based on how much experience they have. So I think salary is something I'm going to leave out of this talk, just because, like I said, there's so much fluctuation. You can be paid, X amount of dollars in Kansas City, and you can go to LA and just make so much more, because they account for, living expenses, and, they adjust for that. So yeah, definitely huge variability. I think people do sometimes change their title to a data scientist in expectations of a higher salary. I have seen that, and I have heard of people doing that. And if it works for you, then, who am I to stop you? Amin says, hi from Lebanon. I assume now you understand why I didn't get any Python. Yes, yes, got it. But you can still learn it, because it's free to download and install. Gonna go back here to see what other questions come in. Tushar asks, what do you think is a better mindset for someone looking to break into the market as a machine learning engineer? Not sure what you mean by mindset. Can you elaborate on that? Are you asking for specific tips on how to get started? Or, the mindset of anyone trying to get into data science or machine learning should be the mindset of someone who's a lifelong learner, and who's just always hungry to learn new skills, new tools, because this field is changing so quickly that you should just always be open to learning new skills. Genesis, hello, cool that you make videos with subtitles. Would like more courses in Python. Unfortunately, direct speech in English, you don't understand direct speech in English. Got it. Yeah, I do plan to create more videos on Python and teaching that. I'll definitely be conscious of putting the captions. I think it helps people. I know when I'm scrolling through videos, I usually don't put the sound on myself. That's why I make sure to add captions to my content. Aldrin is asking, which is better, becoming a data science generalist or a specialist? It depends on your personality type. I would say some people are just great at specializing, let's say in, natural language processing or whatever that, like for me, for example, data visualization is kind of my niche. This is what I love to do. This is what gives me energy, and this is what gets me excited. But if you have something else that you're passionate about, go the specialist route. If, however, you can't seem to choose something, I think you can still go the generalist route. Although the way things are moving, I think in terms of the market for data scientists, I think specialization is going to be more common in the next 5 years or so, because I think we're finally understanding that you won't find that unicorn that knows everything in data science, and they're focused more on building the proper team. So you would need to be have a specialization so you can be part of this specific team that you're looking to join. All right, new question here. Okay. Let's see. Thank you for all the great questions, by the way. All right, Tushar says, a follow-up question to the previous one. So as someone trying to break into the industry, is it better to create an end-to-end application, UI, and everything, or just reproduce, train new models to learn and move on to the next one? I would probably get started on a couple of reproducing and training models, but then if you can, definitely go and build something, especially if it's something that you think is going to help even 5 people. I'm not going to say go save the world, but if you think this, whatever you're building, can help 3 to 5 people, build it, document how you build it, be able to describe it in in normal language. Make sure your neighbor and grandma and niece and nephew can understand what you're saying. Be able to communicate that, and I think that will really help you kind of get to that next level of being a great data scientist. All right. Paul Sansbury. Hi, I work in the IT industry, selling HW. What's HW? Paul, let me see. It's scrolled up. This isn't a sales pitch at all. Okay. I wondered which industry will be investing into deep learning now. I see lots in healthcare and lots in manufacturing. Where do you see government, for example? I mean, what use cases? Thank you, and sorry for the wordy question. That's not a wordy question. Okay, so your question is, where do I see companies investing in deep learning? I think there's really no limits to the industries that are investing in it. Like you said, healthcare, government. I definitely know of some banking clients that are heavily investing in that. So banking, consumer, marketing, there's really no end to where you can apply data science algorithms and machine learning algorithms to try to understand your data better. Okay, Princey says, is R more helpful than Python in data science? I have expertise in Python and learned only basic R for a specific use case. Again, I think I addressed this question in the beginning. Shaikh just asked the same question, R and Python, which is better? It truly does not matter. It's just a way for you to solve a problem, right? One way you can think about it is, R is chopsticks and Python is a fork. You can use either or to eat your pasta or sushi or salad. One might be better than the other for some things, but in general, they'll still get the food in your mouth. And it's basically go with what you already know. So if you're great, HW is hardware. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Ayaz. How did I not know that? Yeah, so basically, if you're comfortable in Python, stick with Python and just learn it really well. And if you come up with a need where you need to use R, then I don't think it'll be a far stretch for you to learn R. But I say pick one language. I chose Python just because it was the most popular language when I Googled it. If it said R was the most popular, I would probably gone with that one. It's just so happened that it was ranked #1 in terms of people using it. And the reason that swayed me was, if there are a lot more people using that software, then if I come up with a question, there's probably a community of people that can help me answer that question, since there are more people using that tool. All right. Let's see. Akash asks, how valuable are certifications or courses from Udemy, edX, Coursera while looking for a data science job? I think while looking for a data science job, I think courses are always great. When you're looking for a job, when you have a job, when you're still in school, any way you can continue to learn and build on your skill sets is great. Will that certification get you a job? I don't think so. My personal view is, when people are hiring, they don't really care as much what piece of paper you have, as long as you can do the work. So I think we're moving further and further away from that here's my diploma or here's my certificate. I mean, you still need people to get their PhDs, and some companies will probably always require you to have a bachelor's degree at least to apply. But I think we're moving further away from needing a certificate to stand out. I think it's more important to show people, here's what I accomplished, here's a project that I was able to do, here's how I did it, and show them documentation. So if you're choosing between, spending time and money on a certification versus, let's say, building out your own blog that you get, hundreds and thousands of people to come to and look at the work that you've been doing, I'd say go the blog route, because you can learn for free online, and you don't need to, you can basically invest as much time or as little time as you want in that. Certifications, like I said, are still good though. I'm not ruling them out, not specifically for job searches. I would just keep them there for continuous learning. I'm still taking online courses, not for certifications, but simply just to continue learning. Mahesh is asking if Python is a good option for working with healthcare data. Yes, I think so. I think you can use Python in any industry, really. Veganese, chopsticks versus fork. I like that analogy. Thank you. I came up with it just now. Because I usually give the analogy when people ask me Power BI versus Tableau versus, other data visualization tools. I usually have a kitchen analogy where I say, for me, Tableau is like the kitchen that I know really well. So I can go and, find where the spoons are, where the forks are, where the cups are. And Power BI for me is the same exact kitchen, but in somebody else's house, where I know that things are there. I just don't know exactly where they are. So it might take me longer to find what I need. And in that analogy, the spoons and forks and cups are kind of like, how do I make the bars thicker, or how do I change color of this line chart, or things like that. All right, getting into the next question. Okay. Anything coming in on Instagram? Oh, here, I'll wave at some people. Really not sure how to get questions in here. Okay, back to here. Ravi asks, should I first get comfortable with BI stack and then get a deep dive in data science? That way I'm already good with databases and visualization. Is this mindset correct, or could you please share your thoughts? I think if you're able to get a job now and learn as you go, then you should totally do that. Oh, hi, Christophan, and hi, Veronica. Thanks for joining my first Instagram live session. I'm also going live on YouTube and LinkedIn if you want to join those. And if you have questions, you can ask. And now I can see that people can type, so I see where the questions are coming from. Thank you. All right. Gonna scroll up to the latest comment. Yes, so I was answering the question on whether you need to learn things before you get a job. I think if you're able to apply for a job and they'll hire you, definitely do that. Don't hold off. I remember I was interviewing somebody this question, because everyone's always hesitating on calling themselves a data scientist because they might not know enough. And I think it was Debbie from Metis, Debbie Buriviches. And she said, when you can get somebody to pay you for doing data science work, then you're a data scientist. So back to your question is, if you can get hired before you're learning this whole stack of things, get hired, and I'm sure you'll learn on the job. All right. Hi, Santiago. Thanks for joining. Let me scroll up a little bit. All right. Mm-hmm. Akash, thank you. Thank you for joining. Okay. Hi, Gursev. There's a question here on Snowflake DB Cloud. I'm not really well versed in that area, so I'm just going to skip it. Sorry. Somebody like Andreas Kretz who will probably be good at answering that question. So definitely message him. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. All right. All right, so I have a question here about the dedicated weekly challenge. All right, yes, I know I've actually skipped this week's dedicated weekly challenge, but The dedicated weekly challenge is on storybydata.com if you want to check that out. Every week or so, I post a new topic, and there's typically a giveaway, which is a book, a course, or attendance to a conference. I'm actually going to be giving away a Python training course, beginners Python, and I think it was calculus and mathematics or something from Metis in the next week or so. So that's going to be exciting. I think their course starts mid to end of September. So I'm going to have to do that giveaway pretty soon. But yeah, to participate in the dedicated weekly challenge, you don't really need to sign up or do anything. You just have to submit an article or a video for the specific topic that I announce. Usually I announce the topics on Fridays or Mondays, but if you missed my announcement on social media, you can always go to storybydata.com/dedicated weekly, so you can go ahead and see that. Let's see what other questions are coming in here. Joseph Yakura, hey, thank you for joining this session. So I've been speaking a lot with Joseph recently. He is the chair of a data organization that he's putting together on quality and procurement. And there's a lot more stuff I'm going to tell you about this in the next few weeks. And we might even have a competition that we're working on. So for those interested, definitely follow Joseph Yakura. And yeah, definitely follow him or connect with him. All right. So continuing on, the best approach. Oops. All right. Daniel asks, hi, Kate. What's the best approach to connect with potential future bosses via LinkedIn message? I'd like to target specific managers and roles. Thank you so much. All right. I do have some ways I can help here. I remember when I was looking for work, I would message people and ask them for, hey, I see you might be a hiring manager, or can you put me in touch with a hiring manager and, help me find a job? That's literally never worked because A, there's no guarantee that that person's hiring. B, that person on the other end likely feels slightly used because you're only reaching out to them for help in finding a job. And if that's the case, then fine, but don't expect a response. Just like when people were selling you, you're not expected to respond to them if they're, spamming you. This is a form of spam if you're just kind of, blatantly messaging everybody with the same exact message. I think the better way is you can still message them on LinkedIn. I had some LinkedIn messages that were more effective for me when you're targeting specific roles. So what has worked for me is finding something in common, actually getting on the phone. Like if this is truly a person that you think is hiring and you think you can help them in their company and you think that there's going to be a position for you, then yeah, reach out to them and ask them to spend a few minutes on the phone just talking about a relevant topic, but not necessarily, hey, tell me if you're hiring. You can weave that into the discussion at some point, but seriously, try to become friends with people versus trying to straight out go and, not like use people, but there's really a fine line between reaching out and trying to build a connection versus reaching out and just asking for something. I think what hurts even more is not when people straight out ask for things. I think it hurts more when they say something like, oh, hey, I found your article really useful. And then their very next line item is, by the way, I'm looking for a job, or by the way, I'm selling this product, or those by the way and straight to the sales pitch makes that first preliminary conversation you had seem a lot more fake and not genuine, which puts me off even more. So if you're doing that, then just go straight to the sales pitch because that hurts less. Audrey is asking, what will be the top 3 industries for data science in the next 5 years? I don't think there's really a limit. I mean, in the next 5 years, there's so many things that can change that we can all be surprised. I think banking is one of the industries, and I just know that really well. Healthcare is another industry. And I think the government really is getting into data science and trying to uncover that data. All right, let me get to the next question. Do you consider age a constraint in order to enter into the data science industry? No, I don't think age is a constraint unless, you're like 13 years old and not allowed to work. I think, I don't think you're too young or too old to work in data science. As long as you have the right skill sets, then you're good. I don't know if you're asking the question in terms of being too young or too old, but I think in either case, I don't think that there's a constraint for entering this space. At least I haven't felt that. All right. Princey asks the top five people to follow for data science enthusiasts. That's a great question. I might have more than 5. So let's start with follow Kirkborn. He posts a lot. Kristen Kerr. I'm actually writing a book with her, Mothers of Data Science, which I'm going to be working on later today, Kristen, I promise. Jordan Morrow. I'm also writing a book with him, Data Literacy for Kids. So those are great. The Carla Gentry is another great one. Bernard Marr posts a lot, not only on data science, but also on artificial intelligence and trends around that space. Jennifer Cooper, I mean, the list just goes on and on. Andreas Kretz, Terry Singh is great. Fabio Vasquez. I mean, these are people that are constantly adding value and posting. So I hope that answered your question. I mean, I could go on and on with that. Satish is asking your profile, please. I'm not sure what that question is. My profile, not sure if you can clarify. Let's see. More questions. I see there are a couple of people joined on Instagram. Hi, Mosen, how's it going? And all right. Carthaginian is asking, I'm already a data visualization developer, know Spotfire and databases, with a bit of knowledge on R and Python, trying to become a data scientist. What is your advice on how to proceed to learn? I think there's no better way than to get a job as a data scientist. You will definitely learn a lot more working in this space than you will trying to take online courses, certifications, or going back to school. So I think if you already have some knowledge of databases, like you said, Viz developer skills, R and Python, and then maybe brush up on some, statistics and math, and I mean, pick a domain that you like to work with, or find a project that you'd like to work with, and just try applying those skills to that task at hand, so you can build a little portfolio or resume and show people your background. Kamal says, thanks, Kate. You're welcome, Kamal. All right, another question. How good is taking a Tableau certification before taking a deep dive in data science? And also, after getting comfortable with Python, what's the next step? Like build a portfolio or project under our stack? Yes, so I think if you're getting a Tableau certification, it doesn't hurt. I actually got my Tableau certification a few months after starting to learn Tableau, just because I wanted to make sure that I know it. So I think sitting for an exam kind of helps cram more information in your head. So I recommend the Tableau certification because I think it does help you stand out. I know it might go against some of the stuff I said about certifications, but I think those comments were related to data science certifications. I think if you're trying to show your skill set in a specific tool or software, then the certification definitely helps. So in this case, the Tableau certification has helped me because it shows to potential clients that, hey, look, Kate really knows Tableau. She's certified. I was certified as the qualified associate for a while until that expired. Those actually expire every couple of years. So then I ended up getting the first level certification, which lasts forever. So that one never expires. And I ended up doing that one. Princey's asking, will this live session remain after it ends? Yes, Princey, it will be here on LinkedIn. I'm also going to post it on YouTube. Well, actually, I think it's being posted to YouTube because I'm going live on YouTube as well. So if you want to check it out, it's a story by data. And yeah, I don't think I finished answering your question with the Tableau. Let me go back to Ravi. All right, so you're comfortable with Python. What's the next step? So the next step you're saying is it to build a portfolio or projects under your stack. Yes, I think that is a great way to go about it because, and I'm not telling you to create 50 projects or even 30 projects. If you can do maybe 4 or 5 really cool projects, from start to finish by yourself, that will not only allow you to learn things. I know whenever I'm trying to build something and I get stuck, that's when I start Googling, and that's when most of my learnings come from. So definitely try to build a couple projects. If you're doing Tableau, then definitely leverage Tableau Public and create an awesome profile there. Speaking of which, I probably need to upgrade my profile. But basically, put your best data visualizations there. It's kind of like a portfolio for acting. You put your best pictures up. So this is the same thing. You put your best data visualizations up there and try to share them and get people to look at it and get feedback and maybe improve them even more. But at the same time, remember the steps that you took. I mean, if you can document it in an article, that's even better. So then you could show your future employers or clients that, hey, this person really knows what they're doing. They showed me how they did it and their output looks great. All right, moving on. Diana is asking, what is the most challenging project you've had in your profession? All right, I'll talk about this survey we did where we interviewed chief information officers in terms of where they think their field is going, right? So what is a chief information officer's responsibilities and how that's going to change in the next 5 years, and what are their key challenges that they're going to be facing. So most of that survey data wasn't clean. So I think cleaning that data was a challenge. And I overcame it just by getting down there and doing the hard work. And I learned a lot in that process. But I think the more difficult part that came out of this was looking at the unstructured data, right? The text that came through. And that was difficult because I don't have a background in natural language processing, and I kind of had to parse. There's probably, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 line items, but I didn't really have time to read 2,000 or 3,000 line items to understand what people's challenges were. So the way I approached that was actually I used Tableau for natural language processing, which might sound crazy to people who use real NLP tools, but I did it and it worked and it was effective. But I basically read through a couple of the responses that the chief information officers provided, and I created buckets and then keywords that can fall into those buckets. There was a lot more science behind it, but this is the simple version. And then I ran a if statement on every word, every sentence, every response in that column, and it was able to bucket those thousands of responses into, I think, 5 or 6 buckets to show kind of what were the biggest challenges that the CIOs are facing. So that was pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of that. It was published, I think, in the CIO Journal. All right. Ari says, hi, Kate. I created my own data science bootcamp, and I'd like to know what you think about it. All right. I will check it out. Thank you for sharing. I'm sure a lot of people would like to see what you've built there, Ari. So thank you for sharing that. Actually, while we're sharing links, another company you guys should check out is Gigantum. I've met with Tyler Whitehouse recently. We're actually going to go live together probably mid to end of September. So you'll hear more about it, but you should definitely check out Gigantum for data science. You can follow their company on LinkedIn, Twitter. I don't think they have Instagram, but they do have free demos of their tools, which is basically used for collaborating and for teams and for yourself, just documentation of kind of your process of your code. So definitely check that out. All right. Question from Aldrin. How did you start your career in data science? It happened by accident, really. My previous career was in risk management, regulatory compliance, and governance in the financial services sector industry. And what happened was I was doing fairly well in that space. I was traveling for clients. I was working pretty long hours, and I basically wanted to start a family. So when I had my first child, I made a decision that I don't want to travel that much. I don't want to come into the office. So my goal really was to find a job that I can do remotely So I had to step out of my client service role, and I asked my company to provide a remote work. And I basically said, guys, I will do anything. All right. So what happened was I got extremely lucky. Well, I don't know if it's luck. I think I messaged about 50 people at the company to try to get this any remote job. And I was lucky enough that somebody contacted me internally and said, hey, we're looking for somebody. All you need to do is to come in once a month, and you'll have the role of a CIO lab manager and an insight strategy manager, basically analyzing our data. At that point, I didn't really know data at all, didn't really work with it. And I was actually given feedback a few years before that I lacked an ability to pay attention to detail. So I was definitely not the right person for the role, but they took a chance on me, and I'm so glad they did, because I took everything I had into that role. I took courses, I took Tableau courses, I made my own Story by Data YouTube channel, teaching people Tableau as I learned it. I took data science courses from Coursera. I read articles literally while feeding my children. I would read articles about Hadoop or just anything related to data. So that's kind of how my career started. But then I just started being more active on social media and interviewing people for my Humans of Data Science video podcast, or creating this dedicated weekly challenge, or even writing books on data science, and then just basically went full force in there. It wasn't in an attempt to make sure I secured this remote job. That's really why I kind of went full force into it. But it ended up being such a blessing, because I truly love the space. And I don't want to go back to risk management, although there's some overlap sometimes where I end up working with risk management. But yeah, that's my little story of how I got into data. Carthaginian is a desktop specialist as well. Kudos, congratulations. I know it's not the easiest test. I mean, it's I think it has like a 50 or 60% passing rate. And I'm not sure if my math is right on that. But if you know your stuff, actually a quick tip for anybody who wants to sit for the Tableau certification. Not sure if they still do this. I think they might, but they actually allow you to use the online help feature during the exam. So if you have a specific question on the test, I think it's like a 2 or 3 hour exam, you can actually just go to online help, or you can Google answers. As long as it's not some kind of community thread forum, you're totally fine with doing that. Because I think they know that working with software, you're going to Google things anyways. I Googled something yesterday because I published a dashboard, and for some reason the fields started to get unsorted when I published versus had it on my desktop view. So I had to Google it and quickly figure it out. It took like 1 minute, and I was able to fix that issue. But I think they're aware that people are going to Google questions. So that's why they allow that online help feature. All right. Next question comes from Faizanur Rahman. Hi, Kate. How are you doing? Doing great. I want to become a good data scientist. I started randomly through blog posts, online resources, and wanted to ask that initially I feel more energy, but as I go, my confidence gets lost. What should I do? Should I join Data Science Training Center, or any other ways to feel motivated? You know, I feel you, because I think a lot of people have this feeling where you're just learning something new and you're feeling great about it because you're learning it. But then you understand, basically there's a common sentence that says, the more I learn that there's more to learn. I think that's, not sure if that's the exact way to put it, but the more you learn about the space, the more you'll know that there's such a broad space that you can't really know it all. So just continue to learn as much as you can. And I think the way to motivate yourself is, I think getting a job is a great confidence boost, so you can apply the things that you're learning. But, you know, if getting a job is not something that you can do, then execute your own little projects and share them with the community, or even try to teach somebody that wants to get into this space something that you just learned. I think that's a great way to stay motivated. At least for me, anytime I learn a new skill set, I like to share it with people. This way, I just feel like I'm helping somebody, and that motivates me in response. It looks like my Instagram has 19 or 18 seconds remaining, so I'm going to wave goodbye to Instagram. It's been about an hour, I guess. Oh, Marta, hi. Thanks for joining. You're joining for my last 8 seconds, but Anyways, thanks for joining. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down the Instagram, or I guess it'll shut down itself in 2 seconds. But thank you for joining. YouTube and LinkedIn, I'm still around for a couple more questions. So, all right, let's see. There's a question coming in here. Lucy says, lovely story and successful. Congrats. What are the skills, or how do you new or entry-level candidates get people to take a chance on me like you? Okay, so I think they took a chance on me at my company because I was really, really hustling to begin with. Like in my risk management role, I was taking on everything I can do to help other people. Basically, I did everything I could to make my managers look good. I think that's really everybody's job, is make your managers look good while learning. I think I never stopped learning. I never stopped going to conferences and meeting people and building my network online, offline, internally, externally. And people will take a chance on you when they see that you are eager to learn, eager to help. If you're just, and also ask them to take a chance on you. Nobody would have given me this remote work unless I asked for it, because there's, people are not sitting there thinking, hey, how do I promote Lucy, or how do I, make her life easier? Nope. They're mostly thinking about their own lives or their own work. So if you ask, you highly, highly improve your chances of getting what you want. It doesn't cost to ask. All right. Next question. What challenge were you setting out to address when you started this work, Mateen? If you're asking me about data work, the challenge I was trying to address was we had a lot of data that we were collecting in the CIO program, and nobody was really looking at it. And I'm noticing this as a common thread in a lot of companies now, where people collect data, and they think that it's worth something. They're not sure what to do with it. And that's where I find the most energy from, is being able to come in there and be creative and try to understand what insights you can glean from. So the challenge I was trying to address there was that they were collecting a lot of data and they just didn't know what was in there. I had to help out with data quality issues in the beginning, but then once we cleaned all that up, I was actually able to pull specific insights that help that organization make decisions on where they should focus their resources. All right. Next question. Let's see. Samira. Hi, Kate. I'm a new mom. Congratulations, Samira. Do you have a boy or girl? Do you want to share pictures? I recently self-taught myself machine learning. Do you have any hints for me? All right. That's great that you were able to self-teach yourself machine learning. In terms of hints, are you looking for advice on how to find a job, or be a little bit more specific, and I will definitely try to help. But congratulations. Veganese, best AMA ever. Thank you. My first AMA ever, but I'm totally having fun with this. Instagram has gone to sleep. I guess they can only take an hour of me. But LinkedIn, I think there's a 4-hour limit. I'm not going to go for 4 hours because, hey, let's face it, I do have to work. But let's see what other questions come in. Abhishek is asking for more courses for data science. I know it's tough when you're starting out because there's just so many courses. I think Matt Dancho actually has a pretty cool course everyone keeps talking about. It's in R. So actually, if you want to tag Matt in there and let him ask him questions, I think it's called Business Science. I interviewed him once for my Humans of Data Science channel, and yeah, he definitely adds value. So I would check out his course. But there's just so many courses on Udemy, Coursera. Just pick one and really give it your all. I don't think it's enough to pick a course and kind of sit through it and click through the slides, or listen to somebody while you're playing on your phone. Definitely just pay attention. And one thing I learned was when you're taking an online course, and I did this when I was taking a SQL course, pause the video every couple of minutes and try to anticipate what is the next thing this person's going to say. I think it makes you kind of be more present in the training and just allows you to activate that part of your mind that's actually going to learn this stuff. So definitely just don't passively sit there and listen. Take notes if that's how it helps you study. I think having a notebook and taking notes is great because then you can also refer to those notes. it's not as easy to refer to these online videos because you forget what it was the question I had, where was this. Some videos are better where they're shorter and they have a very specific topic, but not everybody does that. So definitely take notes as you're taking these courses. All right, Paul says, thanks for hosting this. Very interesting. Thank you, Paul. I'm trying to better understand the industry meeting, event, meetup, webinar at a time. Oh, yeah. So you're trying to understand the industries, one meeting, event, meetup, webinar at a time. Yes. And definitely, you might even think that you're not learning anything. I remember when I started in banking, that's actually what I did because I knew my industry of focus for risk management will be banking. So I would look at what are the trends that are happening in banking, and I would talk to people in banking. I would go to the American Banker Association events or just anything that had to do with banking in one way, like even if it wasn't specific to what I was working on, I would still go. If it was technology and banking, because either way, you'll passively learn something that can help you understand that industry better. All right, next question. Let's see. Shari Woods. Hi, Kate. I'm absorbing a lot here. Thanks. Thank you so much for that. I just started a career in IT recruiting and staffing. I love helping people grow their careers, and you've been awesome. Thank you so much. That's very nice of you to say, Shari. People who are looking for careers in IT recruiting, connect with Shari. She seems nice, and she wants to help you. So go for it. I think this forum is great for people who want to connect with others. Look at people's comments here and interact with them. If you're giving away, if you're looking for a course, there are people here that have built the course, connect it to each other and help each other out. Prince is asking, do you conduct live sessions every week? Any specific day or timing? No, so I'm still beta testing this live thing for LinkedIn and I'm loving it. I wish I would do this more often, but my days are pretty full with my actual full-time job and writing a couple books on the side, developing courses, learning Python. I have 2 kids and I love running. So it's hard to make time for it. It's not an excuse. I still try to go live once in a while. I usually actually have a guest that I interview for my live sessions, but today I wanted to try this triple live thing just to see how it goes. And it's been fun. I mean, especially this Ask Me Anything, because I didn't have to prepare much. I just had to kind of sit here and respond to questions that came in. Right. Let me see a couple more questions and then I'll probably wrap it up. New comment. Aldrin, you're here and you're here. You asked me questions on YouTube and now you're on LinkedIn. This is great. Are you multi watching while I'm multi streaming? This is awesome. We should definitely connect. Any tips on how to present data science results reports to non-technical people, such as CEOs and customers? That is a great question. Haha, I see you there, Aldrin. How to present data science results reports. I think one thing you should keep in mind is don't have 60 pages of information to throw at these people, especially if you're looking at pitching to a CEO or the C-suite level of executives. Have at the top your title. Have your title tell people exactly what it is they're looking at. This way, if that's the one thing they read this entire for the entire presentation or this entire pitch, they'll know exactly what you're talking about. So I think it all starts with the title. Tell them what they're looking at. If you built a bar chart, for example, that shows that sales are decreasing in the Northeast region, that's your title. Sales are decreasing in the Northeast region, and then have that chart. So then the chart helps them understand, okay, Northeast region went from X to Y and Southeast went up and down. And basically then it helps them read that chart because now they have that framework in mind. So clear title. The next thing is don't put too much stuff in your dashboard or whatever you're presenting, because you don't want to overwhelm people. I mean, I can go on about this topic for probably a couple of hours because there's just so many little nuances that make such a big difference when you're presenting data visualizations to different types of audiences. I would say, remove any clutter that you have, any extra grid lines or any double encoding. If you have something placed on color, you don't also have to place it on size. And if you're getting lost in this analogy, I'm talking about a Tableau concept here, I guess, although you can apply it to other data visualization tools. And then just making sure that you have very clear legends. Don't use too many colors. There's a lot. I can go on and on about this, but those are some quick tips for you for presentation. Let's see. CEOs need 3-page summaries from John. That's funny. I typically try to keep it to 1 page, unless you're saying that the first page is kind of the cover and the back page is kind of the ending slide for your company. I try to keep it to 1 executive summary, but then there are some executives that like data and like detail, so definitely be prepared to share that as well. So have that in your back pocket or have a printout ready to share if you're presenting in person versus on a screen. So some people do like to see the detail, and they'll like to say, okay, can you show me the data? And the great thing with Tableau is I would build these high level visualizations that would give the executives a view, but then maybe their VPs or the people that work for them would want to know more information. So I would enable the dashboard to be interactive so that people can click into the bar chart and actually get a little table to the side that tells them exactly what's in there. And then, you can hover and get even more information. So possibilities are endless. Colby is asking, how do you make time for your ambition, family, and work? I am super stressed balancing everything myself. Colby, I think it's because I love everything I do. So I love my work. I love my family. I love my passion. So typically I just make time. I'm not going to say I skip on sleep because I try to go to bed about 10 p.m. at night, but I do try to wake up at about 4 or 5 a.m. So I think that's when I make up my time for my ambition. I typically go running right before the sunrise, and I get to see the sunrise. I have a thing for sunrises and sunsets. I typically post that on Instagram because I don't think LinkedIn would like my sunrise pictures. But anyways, I really enjoy all those things. Like it doesn't become a chore. I think I also make time by not watching much television. I haven't really watched TV in a while. If I do watch something, it's usually Netflix on like a lunch break or something, just to entertain myself while I eat. But yeah, I think the TV is a big time suck for a lot of people, so they don't make time for their passions. The other thing I keep thinking is we live only once, so I try to kind of live on my own terms and live big. So I have all these crazy goals. You'll hear more about it when I'm doing my official 2020 goal setting because I'll be doing that publicly. But yeah, just make time for it. I never understand when people say I don't have time, because I think you can always find time for the things that are important. We make time to eat every day, right? So I'm not encouraging skipping meals, by the way. Okay, next question. Let's see. Sorry about the background noise. There's like a fire truck coming up. All right. I actually think I'm going to wrap up because of the time management part. I have to get back to work. I just got an email. But it's been really great spending time with you guys. And thank you so much for all the questions that you asked. If you want follow-up questions, message me directly or tag me in a post and ask a question. I'm happy to participate and make time for you. Thank you again for joining. Have a great day.